Good morning. I've been asked an assembly for you today on online learning and safety whilst being online. And the reason for this is I just really want you to get the most out of your lessons while we're all doing remote learning. And I thought I'd share the key points that I can see that you need to remember when you're doing this. And these are really to ensure that you are safe, you're successfully learning and staying healthy. The first one is to treat remote education the same as the classroom learning. So it's really important that remote education is treated the same as classroom learning, that you're taking part when you can, you're making sure you follow the same rules that you would do in the classroom. This is mainly you being respectful to the members of staff and other pupils in the lesson, making sure you behave appropriately, conduct yourself in a way that allows learning to be successful for everybody. When you're in and you're joining in on these online lessons, please make sure you try as much as you can to be in the lesson. Be engaged, show you're there, ask questions, raise your hand, get involved in your learning. It's also important that when you're communicating via these new channels, that you remember that you've got to be really polite and respectful. You're going to use the same language you would hopefully use in the classroom. I know some people don't get that right all of the time, but we need to try really hard. We need to make sure that we're being respectful to members of staff and polite to them. You shouldn't be speaking to them in shorthand or text speak when you're communicating via the chat or when you're just talking to them generally. Please make sure as well that if you're talking between student and student, that also your communications need to be of a positive nature, and you shouldn't be posting anything that's a negative comment. Take a second, read what you're about to type, make sure it's what you want to say before you send it. If it's negative, push delete, don't send it. There's a big bit of information out now about taking regular screen breaks, and actually I've sent some information home to parents to take regular breaks from the computer so that they can hopefully help you or talk to you about you having these. It's not healthy for you to be sitting in front of a computer hours and hours on end every day, and we're in school Monday through Saturday, so that's really not a good experience for you and your eyes. So what we've done is in every lesson, we're still having the 5 minutes that would normally allow the teacher when we were all in school, September to sort of Christmas time, to sanitize the room. And we used to have a bell that would go, we would sanitize the room, and then we would get you to all line up, put your mask on, and then start to go. Well, we're still doing that in school, but we haven't got very many people in classes now. So what's going to happen is the teacher's going to step away from their computer and have a rest, and that's the time for you to have your rest. It's a rest from the screen. It's not a rest from everything, it's a rest from the screen. So you can go away and do some other task. You could walk away and just have a breather outside in your garden. You could go and just do something else on a piece of paper that you're doing. Anything that gets you away from the screen. Even if you want to, you could maybe do a job around the house for whoever's at home. So it's something for you to do to get yourself away from that screen for that 5 minutes. Remember, we do have that 5 minutes in the lesson, and then normally you have a 5-minute movement time. So that gives you 10 minutes then to shut down what you're doing, have a quick break, then get back in on time for your next lesson. So you should not be late for any online lessons at all. Next one is then to try as much as possible to make yourself a space which is your learning space. This is difficult because not everybody has huge houses with masses of space, and some of you will probably have quite a few people who are at home trying to monopolize those different spaces to use them. So this can be difficult, but try as much as you can to make a space for your learning that's clean and free from distractions. Try and make it a different space to the one you try and relax and play in. Bedroom is not really an appropriate place. Make it somewhere where when you sit there, this is a place for you to learn. This is a place for you to concentrate, and that's its purpose. When you're there, that's what you're doing. When you walk away, then you can have your fun and your games and everything else you want to do. But in this space, this is where you're supposed to be sitting and learning. So your body and your mind gets used to, that's what you'll do in that space, and it will make things much easier for you. It's really important as well that we try to remember that although this is a really amazing way of learning, there's also pitfalls. And one of them is how we can communicate with each other. It's important that you use our learning platforms, Teams, to actually communicate backwards and forwards with other students and with us as staff. This has been set up for you, and actually if you communicate in class channels, only your teacher and your classmates can actually see those. If you send it through email or maybe some other different methods, other people could maybe see that, or accidentally it could go to other people, and that's not good, because you could be sharing maybe some of your personal information, or just information you don't want to be shared with other people. Maybe a message that you don't understand a piece of work, or maybe a picture of your work that you wanted to share with the teacher to show you've done your work, goes to somebody else that shouldn't really have it. So it's important that you use these Teams channels properly, so that you keep your personal information safe and secure. Everywhere has rules. Everywhere has rules. We have to get used to that in life. Everywhere has a rule. And you have lots of rules when you walk around school, whether you like them or not. We have rules where we're doing remote education, and you need to follow them. As a school, we've adopted what's called an AUP, an acceptable use policy, for using Teams and what you'll do online. And that's been sent home, and it lists very clearly what every person involved must do. We use the word stakeholders in school, but quite simply, it's what we as a school need to do to make sure it's successful for us as a school and for you and for parents. What your parents need to do to make sure, again, it's going to be successful, but more importantly, what you need to do. If you haven't looked at that, I'm quite happy to send that through to you, and I'll send it through to students so you can all have a look probably in the next few days, or have a chat to your parents and see if they've had that copy that comes through for them to have a talk to you about. It's important you follow that guidance, because it's there to keep you safe. It's there to allow people to get the maximum success out of their learning, and to make sure that basically people don't go across the wrong side and start behaving badly and getting negative points on class charts. I mentioned a couple of points ago about you sharing things and using Teams. Another thing you need to really think about is some lessons you may be given access to other websites, other materials or online resources, because teachers are really exploring what's out there to give you the best learning experience. And some of these will require you to have sign-ins, and the teachers will have had to go through quite a lot of paperwork to get that to happen. So that we're only sharing what we need to with these other companies. It's really important you do your bit, and that you don't share any of these extra logins or passwords with anybody else. That information is private. It's private to you, and it needs to be kept that way. And the reason for that is it's to keep you safe and to keep your personal information safe. If somebody else gets hold of that information, they can pretend to be you and do things that you maybe don't like or don't want to be associated with your name. So it's stuff that you need to keep safe and private to you. If you think someone else knows your password, if you think someone else has guessed it or has been using an account of yours for any online resources, or even just your login to normal school, let one of your teachers know, and they can then pass it on to the relevant person in school to change. This one has come up a bit recently, and it's that quite a few students have decided that they're going to use the chat within each learning team, so the teams we've set up for you, as a bit of a social gathering, and that's not what it's for. Yes, some teachers will talk to you and want to see how you're doing. We enjoy your company, and we will want to do that and make sure you're okay. But it's not just a place to have a chat with your friends and colleagues. There's other areas you can do that in Teams. This is a learning environment. This is where we can share ideas with each other, and you can get help or show your understanding with something. And if people are using them for social or silly chat, it makes it really hard as a teacher to see when someone maybe needs help and is asking for that help, or has got their hand up or wants to ask that question at that particular moment, or even wants to answer a question and really join in. It might be the first time that person's ever joined in, and because people have been silly on the chat, it means that they get missed and then they don't ask again. That would be very sad for them and really dent their self-esteem if that happens. So please, can you make sure that when you're in a lesson, the chat is there and used as learning and learning only. The last slide, and although this is my last slide, it's really important. As humans, we are very social creatures, and actually we seek each other out to try and talk and share ideas and just check we're all right. It's really hard at the moment with us working at home because this is not really possible. It's quite a difficult thing to do, and it affects us all, every one of us. So we just need to be really careful that that doesn't harm us, that it doesn't affect our well-being. So it's important that you tell someone if you're feeling frustrated, if you're feeling low or sad, if online learning and this not having contact with other people is not working really well for you, please talk to somebody. Let's see if we can make it better. And the best people to talk to are your parents, whoever's at home for you, and your teachers, because we can help. We can't help if we don't know. So do try that every day to keep in touch with your friends. You can do that over the phone. Lots of you have obviously shared phone numbers or text numbers or WhatsApp or whatever other methods you have of communicating. You can communicate via Teams too. There is the chat for that, and that's the social aspect. And you can actually call each other on it as well. So you can still have that contact with people. And I do want you to have that contact daily with people so that you still have that experience, and that helps with your well-being. The last thing really is if you think someone in your class is struggling, and that's the struggling with really changing to this remote way of working, or feeling down, or you think they may be taking risks with what they're doing online that could cause problems, please do tell us. Tell a teacher, contact your head of year, contact your head of house, have a chat to any of us, because we really can help, and we really would like to know if someone's doing that. We'd like to put some sort of intervention in place before they do something which really causes a problem and really could hurt their well-being. We're all in this together. This is a different experience for all of us. None of us teachers have done this before. None of you have done this before. We're all trying to make it the best we possibly can. And the only way you can do that is together. So let's do this together. Let's try our best, and let's all stay safe. Thank you very much.